I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP. Yeah, I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. Bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked now. Bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked now. I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP. I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP. Everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see.
Hello everyone, let's get started. I have a stash of sweets which I wanted to eat prior to the stream, but I was a bit tight on time. I have no financial advice, I have no financial interests, and I don't want no donations. However, I have to tell something. That's really the only thing I want to tell today. Hello everyone. I am on Cinnamon video, and I don't know if I told it in English already. I think I told the guys in German last Thursday. The problem is I'm saying I don't have no financial interests and don't want no donations and stuff. However, on Cinnamon I'm being paid in XRP for people watching my videos. And I've been asking on Twitter what I should do about that conflict. On one side not having financial interests, and on the other hand publishing videos on a platform where I'm paid for. And a guy actually gave me a nice idea. That's basically what I will be doing. I will donate the money as soon as XRP has enough value. I receive as payment via Coil and Cinnamon. I have 2 videos already posted there, and I have quite some views. Actually, on one it's I think 150 views, and on the other over 200 views. Kevin Cage, which has like 5 times more subscribers than me on YouTube, he has posted, I don't know, 5 or 10 videos, and not one of them has more than 50 views or so. So I'm quite impressed about my performance on that platform. I will be publishing those videos around a week later. The 2 I published already on Cinnamon, I will publish most likely today after the live stream on YouTube as well, for those who don't have a Coil account. However, because they go by the principle 120 and not 80 and 20, I will not link the additional PDFs and links and stuff on the video on YouTube. So for those who wanna get access to the additional information, they will have to pay for a coil subscription so they can see the description and download the additional files. The 80-20 principle would be that not paying viewers would see 80% of the content, and those who pay would see the additional 20%. I'll give you an example. Those not paying would see only 80% of the video, whereas the summary, the conclusion, the last 20% would only be visible for the guys who pay. Now the principle coil and cinnamon have 120 is a little bit different. It's 120. So basically, after that amount of time, that week or so, I wait until I publish the videos I have put on coil, that I will put them on YouTube. The videos themselves will be the same, but the additional stuff, like these added goodies, that's only available via Cinnamon. So that was it for today. I'm all yours with questions. No, Geo, XRP, I'm not playing an instrument in the background. You mean that song in the beginning? No, that's actually a song being composed by an XRP community member. I don't know, Frangle. It has the name Frangle. I don't know if Frangle means something similar as jingle or something. Anyway, it's in the link of the live stream videos. The last link points to that song. Moorish King, thank you for that compliment. Any news? Actually, no. Guten Abend, Memi Tuski. I hope I pronounced that properly. No news actually. Griesti Peter. Griesti sagt man you say in Vienna. Kannst du uns etwas zu deiner Meinung sagen gegenüber McCaleb und wie Ripple damit umgeht? Kannst du uns erklären, wie dieser ausbezahlen darf und die Auswirkungen auf XRP schlecht oder gut? Also Pierre Nix is asking about the agreement with Chad McCaleb, which was one of the founders or the creators of XRP actually, and then left Ripple because he had some conflicts with the management team. But he was given, before he left, like when he basically created XRP, he received I think 9 billion XRP. And then in some lawsuits they kind of settled under which terms he's allowed to sell his XRP or not. And there has been a blog post the past few days, I think maybe on weekend or so, about that, and I scanned it quickly, but honestly I didn't see anything new in there compared to what I knew already. So basically Chad McCaleb is allowed to sell, I think from the third year on, 1.5% of the daily volume of his XRP. I think the only thing new, or was that in the clinch with there was in one of the agreements, I don't remember if it was R3 or Chad McCaleb, was also one condition that he could give away his XRP, but only to charity or something. Anyway, the question is if that's good or bad for the price of XRP, and I don't think it'll have any effect on XRP, neither good nor bad. There has been this talk about Ripple dumping escrow monthly on the market, that this will basically press or put the pressure on the price downwards on the XRP price. I, however, don't think that this is the case, because there is simply not enough XRP being sold, and the XRP being sold from escrow is actually bound to conditions. So basically, those receiving XRP from escrow, they have to oblige to certain conditions. Basically, it means they have to help liquidity in the market, and then they can sell. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Pierre. DTC says multiple services: equity clearing, fixed income clearing, info management, and custodians. Was that a question? These services have their own purpose and their own on XRP Corda, for instance. There could be similar. Yes, English to me, that's exactly correct. I was actually talking to Darren Moore the other day regarding the clearinghouse in the US, which is basically the clearing institution for interbank settlements in the US, and they have been, offering, I don't know how that's said, a real-time payment system, RTP I think it's called, since I think almost about a year. I think they started last October or so. And he was always touting that the clearinghouse will be using, or will be on RippleNet and will be using XRP. And in this discussion I had with Darren, he basically confirmed my belief that domestically within the US they will not use XRP and they will not be on RippleNet, because there is a difference in the kind of explanation of how that real-time payment system works in the US. There it's based on credit. I think this is called credit forward. Credit payment. I think credit payment it's called. Whereas RippleNet is a debit payment. And I think the difference, but no one could give me an answer on that so far, what really the difference is. I think the difference is rather similar to Nostro and Vostro. I believe credit payment and debit payment is more or less the same thing, just from a different perspective. But as I said, no one could enlighten me on that. So basically, a debit payment is that's how I imagine it's a push. I pay for goods, I push you the money. And the credit payment works the other way around. I pay goods for you and I tell you you can pull money from me. So you pull money from me. But I could be wrong, no one could answer that question. Any opinion on partnership between R3 and Ripple? And I saw it in an article today. I didn't read that article, but I mean the rails are set there. I mean, are you referring to this article, Richard, where they have been talking about the last piece of their lawsuit being settled? I think it's a good thing. Maybe, I don't know. Usually I get the question, why isn't the price exploding yet? And I've been telling for over a year now, I don't think we're waiting for regulations. I think it's something different. and I told two ideas which could be the reason. It could be China, because from China we hear basically nothing. Could be Russia. I have no clue what's going on in Russia. With those two in the system, we would have kind of like a complete ecosystem with values flowing in basically each direction of the world. That could be a reason. Another reason could be those pending settlements with R3 and with maybe Chet McCaleb. I really don't know. It's a bit weird. Yes, Peter, everyone is tired of waiting. Could be English to me, but I rather don't think that the clearinghouse is using XRPL for IOUs. I mean, could be, but I honestly don't think so. Richard, if there is a fork on XRP, would we hodlers all get these new coins for free like it was with Bitcoin Cash? That depends. If I were to do a fork, I wouldn't do a fork. I would just take a copy of the rippled code and start afresh. That's basically how Casino Coin was created. They took a copy before or maybe from the first ledger written, this Genesis ledger. However, if a fork were to happen from now, then you would have basically coins on both chains, because the addresses would still be the same, and thus also the private key. That's basically how that relates. I don't know if all people here know about that. Once those other blockchains like Bitcoin forked, what those ones which went ahead with a new algorithm for the network went, they took basically a copy from the whole blockchain, and went on with the copy but with a new algorithm. And because in that copy the wallets had still the same public and private keys, you basically had access to coins on both chains, which I think is something pretty stupid if you do that, because depending on how that fork will be valued. I know where you want to get at, but I really don't think that there will be a fork of XRP anyway, because Ripple will by no way support a fork. They have been now working, 5 years almost to get the ecosystem right, the liquidity and everything, and also for a competitive coin it'll take years. Crypto Eerie explains that in her last videos pretty nicely. There's no poof and woo, we're there. It's a slowly build up of the system, of this liquidity and stuff. Do you think XRP will change the credit system as a collateral asset? Maurice King, my thought goes in a different direction than XRP being used as a collateral for credits. I think, as at least for companies, there will be less credit used in the future, because the money will be so much faster flowing that you will need less money in advance until you get a return on the money you invest into machines and stuff. That's how I see maybe could change. By the way, I've gotten a question from Mike in the WhatsApp group I'm in, and he was asking me, because there was an information about, was it Bitru? I don't remember. One of those coin or exchanges, maybe even, will be offering lending of cryptocurrency. And then I mean, I think also Miguel Villas was talking in that famous video I have been referencing more than once already, is talking that he could think of new, let's say, use cases or methods of using XRP. And he was referring to lending of cryptos as well. And I basically had no idea what that could mean. Then I did a little bit research and figured out the following. Basically, anyone holding XRP but doesn't want to take the risk could lend out his XRP to someone who pays him an interest, which would guarantee the lender a constant income, because he would receive the interest like on a credit, and it would basically, at the moment when the person is actually receiving that XRP, would have enough cash, they could actually sell the lended XRP, and with the profit kind of pay back the money they owe the lender, and still would make a profit. So it's basically a principle which is used in the financial world quite a lot. Usually it's used under the term of hedging. Hedging is a way to protect your investment, and there are two types of hedging to reduce the risk. One is diversifying the portfolio. Say you have stocks on the Swiss market and you have invested in currencies and you have invested in oil. Then you have basically diversified, because they're totally different, let's say, industries, if you so want. So if oil drops, you still have the currencies and the stocks, which hopefully keep you in the green. Another way of hedging is working with time contracts, and that's usually done on derivatives. That's what the futures market is basically about. And what they're doing there is they're kind of selling. I give you an example with stock, because that way you may understand that. So let's say you're buying stock from Apple, but you fear in the same time, when there is some rumors going around that the price of that stock could drop. So what you do is you buy put options, which will allow you to sell stock. at a certain price in the future. And that basically one trade, the buy is going into one direction and the buying put options goes into the other direction. So you basically minimize the risk of losing money. However, you also minimize the risk of making a huge profit. And that's basically what they're doing daily on the financial market, because basically no one, literally they all want the huge profit, but everyone fears to making a huge loss. So they always take preventive measures to reduce the risk of losing money, with the side effect that also the profits go down, because they always have to invest in the counter trade one way or the other. I hope you understand that. That was basically about Maurice King's question regarding credit and lending and stuff. Well, XLM was not really forked. XLM, I think, doesn't even share the same code. The ideas behind the code, I think, are shared. That's why people talk about XLM being a fork, but I'm almost 100% sure it's not a fork in terms of Bitcoin Cash. Was a fork from Bitcoin. It's like they just stole the idea of it. Have I missed anything? I don't know if you have missed anything. Peter, Brexit, I really don't think will have an effect on XRP or not, because the England is anyway dealing in pounds and not in euro. So literally there will be no change for them, and they will, I hope for them, surely make sure that that cross-border payments will continue to work the same way they did before Brexit. Daniel, our WhatsApp group we don't accept any more members, I'm sorry. We had some trouble, we are very small, 7 or 8 people, and we had some troubles in the past with accepting new people, and we decided to stick and not accept any more WhatsApp members in that group. But I do have created a Telegram group where I can, let me write it down, put link to Telegram group into description. But this Telegram group is not intended to share news. It's really, you can have discussions there. I don't bother about that, but the basic idea is that you can go there and ask a question which you cannot wait having answered in the next live stream or so. It's really not, because those on Twitter, they are anyway always up to date. If you follow a handful of people, 10, 15 people on Twitter, then you kind of always have all information. There is literally nothing to share in other groups or so. Going a Jackal, does the debit card of MoneyGram and Visa affect the XRP price? Probably not. Yes, probably not. But it'll help liquidity, definitely. And by them doing that together, I think it's an additional strong sign that Visa is actually in the XRP business. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing that. And I mean, just to give you an idea, let's assume that 10 million people worldwide will get such a Visa, such a debit card from the partnership between MoneyGram and Visa, and every person puts, I don't know, 1,000 for in XRP onto that card, into the value of $1,000. That'll be a huge liquidity of XRP that will be a huge amount of liquid. Can I pronounce it properly? That will be a huge amount of XRP from circulating supply gone, which will eventually mean the price will have to rise even higher. Yes, XRPs, that, I mean, not really into bank, but you get the idea of the lending part. And actually, I mean, I will not be lending out my XRP because I'm not interested in this regular income. But as I explained before, this hedging, this risk reducing, many of those huge players, I mean, they cannot fuck up. They would like to invest into something which gives them 50, 100 or 500% of profit, but the risk is too high for them. They cannot fail, so they usually take counter measures, and lending out something is such a countermeasure, because they would basically receive a constant return. I mean, that's what I will be basically doing as soon as XRP reaches a decent value. I don't know, $30 or so. I will put a decent amount on eToro. I will copy some good traders, 4 or 5 traders which have monthly constant returns over 10%, and that'll be basically my base income. And then I don't have to worry at all anymore about being able to pay for my life, so to speak. That's what I will be doing with a part of my investment. A hard fork is, here we go, new chain with some old blocks. Soft fork is we just update the protocol without the new chain created and call it an LTC fork. Thank you, English to me. Richard, something will affect the price. Actually, I've been working today at work on maybe I could share that. Let me check. Mail. It's just half an hour past, so maybe I can share that with you guys. Did I not send it? Hold on. I didn't. Fuck, I didn't send it. Anyway, then I have to talk about it. I was creating a an Excel file, because I basically owe it to the Galgitron believers, basically. I think what I did is I created a table with some columns and created a chart which basically had, like, I think 4 options for Galgitron's theory. I think I worked with 1% increase in price per month, with 5, 10 and 20 maybe, something like that. And then I went down until the end of 2021, I think, and showed how, at what level the price was if we had that increase every month. And I think even in the highest increase curve, after about 2.5 years from now, starting from now, the price would still be, I think, under, I think, $200 or so, which basically would mean it'll still not be high enough to conduct high value transactions. And then I also put some hypothetical steps for the Shane Ellis theory and showed how much faster that could, or as I think will, go, which is quite interesting. But when I will be making the video about that, I will not say that it will go. I will that my statement will be: decide yourself, do your own research on what you believe or not. But I will make it clear that I believe in the Shane Ellis theory, obviously. Thomas Rudolph. To be honest, they talked so fast in French that I could hardly follow. I think in even if they don't believe in the Shane Ellis theory, the overall perspective of XRP having a high price, I think they share. I'm pretty sure about that. However, as they're invested also in other coins, I mean, that's not basically an argument for or contra, but as you may know, I literally see no other coin having a sustainable high value than XRP. Everything else which is dealing with smart contracts and stuff, I literally don't see why I would need to pay for such a coin. A smart contract, Corda, on the Corda platform, they run already now 2 projects. One, I think, is called Marco Polo, and I think the other one is called Voltron, if I remember properly. And both those projects basically are trade finance projects, and you can be 100% sure that those trade finance projects work on smart contracts. I recently, I don't remember where it was, but I have someone explained, I think it was Simon Adams in a voice message he left in the Telegram group, Love for Crypto. He explained basically how trade finance works. When a company in, I don't know, Brazil wants to send soybeans to Europe, they only want to send the soybeans once they have kind of a guarantee. So basically there is I think it's called a letter of, I don't remember if it's the right term. There are different letters of intent, letter of credit. There is other letters, and one of these letters is basically given to the bank, to the two banks of the seller and the vendor, which is basically like the contract, like the obligation for those banks in order to agree to perform the payment once the good being shipped has arrived at the recipient. And because this is freaking complicated to track, I mean, in the example of soybeans, it's just one good being shipped. But now let's imagine you order 100,000 PCs. Then you get hard drives from that sub-vendor, you get memory from that sub-vendor, you get, I don't know, the LCD displays from that vendor and the keyboards from that vendor, and everything needs to be assembled somewhere and then shipped. So basically this simple chain with the soybeans before is now freaking complicated, because it includes sub-producers and suppliers. And with many goods it is that complicated, and all that is being handled via smart contracts, and it's already now live on Corda. Marco Polo and Voltron are live, I think, for at least 18 months, if not more. I think Marco Polo even longer. And have you ever heard of a Marco Polo coin you can buy? There is no coin needed, as long as all the actors who participate in such a system trust the system. In that sense, the R3 network with the notaries they have in their system, then all is fine. It doesn't even need to be a distributed ledger in such a case. But that's just me. Maybe I'm overseeing. Maybe the only thing where I actually see smart contracts, which maybe in the financial world playing a role, is tokenizing securities. Because their smart contracts may be important to make sure to move ownership of those tokenized assets. But to pay for a coin which actually enables that transfer of those tokenized assets, I literally don't see, because I'm not interested in that coin. I'm interested in the tokenized asset, not in the Ethereum coin or whatever. Okay, let me go back to the questions. Do you also think that there are many forces against XRP and that they delay XRP? I literally have no clue, but I have been seeing an interesting video, and I put out a tweet with a link to the video from a guy I basically never heard of, and he was actually giving two, I don't know, alternatives. That Ripple is either a freaking intelligent company, which I believe they anyway are, or it's all part of a big master plan. I mean, how could a startup with 120 people 2 years ago talk to 40 central banks worldwide? I mean, that sounds so outrageous that kind of it's either this bridge asset idea is so intriguing to all the governments and central banks, or it's really part of a bigger plan. In any way, I think it'll be a huge success. Now, what the delay is about, I really don't know. But for me, it's not a good sign that there is a delay. But I think the longer the delay is, the higher the price will shoot. That's my hope, at least. Hi XRP Andy. Exactly, going a jackal. SBI is freaking aggressive, and they have to be. I mean, maybe they have the I don't know, the power to support Ripple in their undertakings to make XRP freaking liquid. I mean, I hope you all know that one of the plans of of SBI was actually to enter the FX market, and I gave some rough figures to think about in other live streams. I think the daily FX market is, I think, around 5 trillion, same as SWIFT cross-border payments. Japan is responsible for about 20%, so about the trillion daily. If SBI can only cover 5 or 10%, that'll be 50 to 100 billion daily, just with FX. And I mean, that plan from, I think, 2018 it stated that they wanted to start with FX, with XRP and FX market by March this year. And as we all know, SBI VC was delayed. Maybe those delays were kind of, I mean, fake delays, because XRP price had to be held down. I literally have reasons to believe that a company so strong, making a failure on an implementation of an IT system that important, that it suffers a denial of service attack on Amazon on the Amazon cloud. I mean, come on, guys. Those are not idiots implementing such a system. They're kind of like top-notch security guys. For sure, they will have taken care of all possible attack vectors and everything. Could be that I really don't know. I wish I knew. But anyway, that guy I was mentioning before, that either Ripple is a genius who told in his video that either Ripple is a genius company or that the whole thing is part of a bigger plan. He basically issued a very important statement. In any case, we will never know, because the people in know won't talk, and the people who talk don't know. It's just rumors, and that's basically everything going on Twitter. I mean, this crypto hawk has been getting quite some attention since his proposed announcement of the MoneyGram deal, and since he proposed someone is buying someone, rumors have been going high. I mean, maybe it was just a lucky guess. I really don't know with this MoneyGram deal. Are you tired? Am I making you tired, guys? There is no more messages coming in. Do you still hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you hear me. But live stream tells me, the stream health tells me it's green. Okay, intently listening, Michael. Many thanks. English to me, the quantitative theory of money is basically the underlying model of the XRP price calculator. And I think I tweeted it to this woman, Susan, I think Effie. I think she's a person on the board of Ripple, and she's a professor at some university in the US. And she and the student together developed that XRP price calculator based on that quantitative theory. However, when we are talking about the price of XRP, I really hope everyone understands that this model is just not enough for the price prediction, because you need to take into account that that we have not just one global single circulating, like pool of circulating supply of XRP, but it's like hundreds of pools on each exchange. So on each of these exchanges, the liquidity must suffice, and if it's a smaller exchange and it has to participate in important trades anyway, then that basically means the price has to go higher. Well, 589 Society X pool, that's something no one really knows anything about it. One theory I heard from Simon Adams was, but that was I think almost a year back, that he in the Nostros accounts have to come back. Another theory goes like that the X pool is kind of like a pool of XRP those exchanges can draw from to increase their liquidity, which would be a counter argument to my argument that each exchange would need to have basically enough liquidity. I mean, But when anyway the system on a global scale is so, when there will be so many transactions, basically this counter argument to my theory that each exchange needs to have enough liquidity only holds true if there is only few but not too many transactions going on. Let's say, I don't know, every 10 minutes or so a 500 million transaction. Then Bitrex could draw from X pool and receive additional XRP somehow. However, I have no clue how they would want to settle that. Anyway, that's another discussion. But as soon as there is like a 500 million payment every minute or every, I don't know, faster, through all the exchanges participating in that system, it'll not be enough anyway, because the X pool will be dried out anyway within, I don't know, hours or days. I have no clue, going a checkle when. Many are putting out new dates, but I literally don't think that Ripple and the SEC being in the same kind of conference, publicly speaking, I don't think that this will have anything to do with clear regulation. Toretite, my estimate for circulating supply is well below 10 billion. Well below. I rather think of maybe even below 5 billion. I mean, think of like the fact that those having huge amounts of XRP, like 20,000 or more XRP, you can be 100% sure that all those will have their XRP on a cold how do you say, on a cold storage, like Ledger Nano or something. And that's not what I called circulating supply, because that'll take minutes, if not hours, to get it liquid and circulating. Jack Salter, no, I have been talking about the pre-allocation theory in, I think I even made a video about it, if I not remember wrong, where I basically showed two scenarios. XRP price is at the dollar or below, or is at the 1,000, like high at $1,000 or more. And then there is two scenarios. Either they tell IMF receives 50, or different banks receive a percentage of the escrow, or they receive a total value. And at the low dollar value of XRP, both doesn't make sense, because it will basically not help the institution receiving the XRP, and it will not make Ripple less rich, because it's XRP is at a low price. And at a high price, if you go by percentage, then it'll be way too much money you give out to those institutions. And if you go by total value, then the amount of XRP reduced in the escrow will be a few percent, and the actual idea of this pre-allocation theory is to reduce the power of Ripple in the long run. But I think that can be handled in a different way than by pre-allocating. Peter Kobe, well, that's what maybe not all at the same time or date, but yes, I mean, more or less, at least some core corridors will open the same day. XRP and the cold storage like a Ledger Nano or an Elipal wallet. One more question and then we will close for today. And this video I was talking about the comparison between the Galgatron assumed price increase and the Shane Ellis assumed price increase. I may put out tomorrow night, but I may put it out on Cinnamon first. So if you don't have a Coil account such that you can watch Cinnamon videos, then you will have to wait a week. And if there is no question coming in, I will be closing the session for today. I thank everyone for your trust, for your persistence to stick with me, for your interesting questions. I think I covered together with your questions quite some interesting topics today. Hold strong, don't whine. I created a video the other day about all those whiners complaining that the price doesn't rise. I mean, I know it's a pain in the ass. It also pisses me off. But I believe in the big thing, and I literally have no doubt it will make me freaking rich. And if you don't have no patience, then sell your XRP and invest somewhere else. I mean, even if it'll take another year until the price is high, you're still way faster a rich person than with anything else in the past. But I don't think so. So stay strong, don't believe every crap people are telling. Always do your own due diligence. Don't trust any of these crypto news sites like, I don't know, Ethereum News or CoinDesk. It's all crap. It's all crap. Not one article I have seen them publishing is actually based by real facts. And in the same way, this 1 billion volume from Brett Garlinghouse guaranteed was made up news as well. Yes, XRP Andy, thanks for your comment. In traditional markets you have to wait decades. Okay, as always, if you have more questions or if I did miss something, please leave me a comment on the video. Yeah, take care. Some of you I will see on Thursday. Take care, have a nice evening. I will go to bed soon. Take care. And check the link to my Telegram group for questions. I will be putting into the description of the video.